Call the Plan Commission meeting for Thursday, January 26, 2023 to order, and the pledge to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Clark.
Here.
Fredericks.
Here.
Height.
Here.
Lindman.
Here.
Moreto's getting ready. Nedrow.
Here.
And Weber.
Here.
Snyder and
I'll
Thorne.
motion that we excuse Mr. Snyder, Mr. Thorne.
I'll second.
And Kathy's going to be here.
Okay, motion by Nedrow, seconded by Lindman. All in favor?
They had previously discussed.
Motion
discussed that they won't be
carries.
here.
What about Sally?
Sally
She
called,
is-
she's stuck.
She's stuck in traffic
in
on
the snow
23,
belt. Yeah,
so she's probably not going to make it tonight,
right.
my understanding.
Last time she was on the TV, that's what I asked.
So we don't need an approval, or a motion to approve for her, that's okay. How about a motion to approve the agenda as stated?
I'll move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Submitted, yes, okay. We have a motion by Lindman, second.
Support.
Second by Weber. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Also, we'd like to hear a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting last year.
Oh, October, actually.
Yeah, boy.
There she is.
Hey, that wasn't so bad,
You
Ken.
must have been flying.
Well, just perfect timing. You didn't miss anything. So, yeah. Motion to approve minutes. I didn't see any changes on my end.
Good.
Doesn't sound good.
I know. We're working on it.
Okay, I'll motion to approve the minutes from the October 27th meeting as submitted.
A second.
Okay, motion by Lindman, second by Moretto. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, okay. We have no public hearing, we have no correspondence.
We have a public.
Yes, we have no public. That brings us to new business item. And all the items on tonight that Sally was going to help us with, we would like to hear motions to table to next month's meeting because none of them are pressing, you know.
Well, really, it's just going to be the mixed use, I think.
Right, and except for the one that we should be able to send up for council's okay, which is item 2, the mixed-use issue. So, new business item 1, the 2022 annual report. I believe we want to hear a motion to table till
Nope,
next.
nope, we can move that forward.
That's the one we can move forward?
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake?
I don't think there's anything that we really have to have Sally, I mean, this is her report that we have to do by law,
Okay,
by state law to,
so unless anyone has
Basically,
changes,
yeah,
we
that's
can
what
move
we
it all
did in
forward?
2022.
Okay, that's
It's
great.
pretty straightforward, the master plan update. that
Yeah,
Gary
all
sent
right,
you.
sounds great. That way we won't lose any time. That's wonderful. All right, well, that
So
brings
with-
us to
with
new
that-
business item 1, 2022 annual report.
like I said, it's pretty well put together. I'll motion that we forward this to village council for their approval, I guess.
Okay, motion by Nedrow. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Fredericks. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. That brings us to new business item 2, mixed-use district.
Is this the one we want to table till she's
Yeah,
here?
this is the one I think.
Well, unless we want to have any discussion on it at this point, I mean, we could still discuss it.
Well, I sure would like to hear from her.
Well,
She wrote this whole thing, and I don't know if I understand it all. And she's usually good at explaining all this stuff. Is there a hurry on this?
No, there isn't. But this, Scott, this was essentially what we came up with for the parcels
Well, I wasn't
along,
here for that one.
along Glengarry, because the Glengarry Inn was C1, you know, they revised that to C1.
Yeah.
Or it's actually an office, right?
So what's the main points of this?
Well, it's to enable the Glengarry Inn to conform for
Right.
number one. And there's a couple other office parcels up there and a couple other homes that are along that area. So really, the whole district idea is to be able to
Bring them into-
make a mixed-use area, so it could be multiple
Bring them
zonings
all
in
into
that district.
conformance and allow them to sell to other ones that might want
Right.
to switch to
Yeah.
one of the other
Well,
ones very
it
easily.
was all general office.
Right.
And a lot of those homes are there, so to be able to have the plan conform with what the uses are there, we came up with that multiple use district.
I remember that, and it would be nice to move this along, so if they do need to make improvements and things like that, it's not delayed, and,
Right.
you know, all that stuff.
Or require
You
rezoning.
remember, Scott, we went over that?
I do
way
now,
back?
I do now, and I'm
Yeah.
satisfied.
Okay, I am
with,
too, yes.
I don't need to push it on, if anybody else.
So I do have one question, and on the township side, we're getting inundated with people wanting to, I'm going to say, they go after a state license for off-premise liquor sales. And so whether it's a gas station or it's an existing party store that maybe just has beer, wine, because everybody wants liquor now. And when I was reading the mixed use, and I wasn't here for the initial, and similar to other discussions we've recently heard where people want to sell off-premise liquor. So if you have a bar or restaurant, it's fine. If it's within the activity. But something where somebody might, in a mixed-use area, open up another party store for the primary purpose of selling liquor, because that's where they make a good chunk of their money. Do we want to introduce something in conjunction with this that says we only want so many off-premise liquor sale license within Wolverine, within so much geography?
I think there's only a limited number right now.
Is there? So I
believe.
couldn't
Are they
find
considered
that.
adult use?
But I think in Sally's proposal here, what she had put together, I believe that is not allowed.
See, I
think
didn't,
it's addressed.
I didn't see that, and maybe I just missed it, that it was not a,
I remember
I
reading
didn't
something, Anna.
see it under the things that aren't allowed, and I didn't see it addressed in the things that are allowed.
Yeah, let me see where it was. I thought I remember seeing something.
It's at the bottom of this page,
Hey, in 126602, uses permitted by right.
down on, right, the last one, D1.
Under D, the following uses shall not be permitted in the zone: party or packaged liquor stores, or any stores which sell packaged liquor, alcoholic beverages over the counter as part of their product line.
So in other words,
right there.
shut up and read the stuff, and you wouldn't have to ask those questions.
No, good
No,
question.
but that's, I think,
Page 1 of 6.
It was addressed, so.
Okay, good eye, Barb. And good question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so.
In going through it, I mean, I think basically we took all three uses, and she combined them so that it would be harmonized, so that, if you had a residential use, you don't have to go before site plan review, which makes sense. That's what I pulled out of it, and, so it was really how we treat all three uses within that mixed-use area, so.
Right.
It was kind of a combination of our other zoning districts.
So the only other question I had from history, was there any reason that the district didn't go further west? Like to where the Eagles are, or the old
Because that's actually
Patties?
commercial.
So it's already...
That's
so we
already
just wanted
zoned
to keep
commercial.
Keep it commercial, not make it part of the mixed
Right.
use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, what the mixed-use idea was because there
It
was
was
like-
already
there-
mixed use.
No, it is already mixed use,
Right.
but it was rezoned back in the 80s, I think, or,
Commission, if I could, some of the issue of why we need this new zoning is they're not zoned correctly, so we can't approve them for any kind of permits
Right.
to do specific work on things.
Right.
This will help alleviate some of that too, so that what is there can be maintained.
and that was always, it was rezoned back in the 80s, I think, or 80s, 90s, somewhere in that area, for office district. And they actually, in the process of doing that, they made the Glengarry non-conforming, because that was a commercial use previously, and when they rezoned those 8 parcels or so about, they ended up creating the
Non-conformity.
non-conformity for the Glengarry. So when the Glengarry wanted to take care of it and do some upkeep and maintenance and stuff, they were non-conforming. They
Yeah.
couldn't do anything. So their hands were tied. So this mixed use kind of solves the purpose because.
Because we
now
like the
Glen-
way it's being used. We
Yeah,
don't have a problem
the
with that.
Glengarry's
But we want
conforming.
to have them be conforming.
The Glengarry is conforming, and the residential houses in that office district
Will be conforming.
conforming now with the mixed-use zoning, so. And I think there was possibility we might be able to use that in other areas too. You know, maybe like the area down off of Decker and South Commerce. You know, that could be rezoned
Right.
mixed use if need be, whatever. But, so.
Agreed.
Especially
was
that
the
one
idea.
spot we haven't been able to do anything with.
Yeah.
The
Right.
old bank,
Agreed.
Old
gas
Okay,
station,
so I
bank,
guess
everything.
we're ready to hear a motion on new business item 2, mixed-use district, to recommend council
Well, actually, I think we just want to table this. Right?
table.
I think so, and.
Yeah.
Didn't we say we wanted to push it along?
No, I think we could table it and have Sally go through it with us next meeting.
All right, because they're probably
I thought
not
we
going to be
said not to
any
do that.
construction in the winter anyway. you know.
No.
Okay, all right, that's fine with me, so I
I mean-
hear a motion to table item 2, new business mixed-use district
I'll motion that we table it
by
until
Nedro,
next meeting.
Second.
second by Moretto, discussion?
I'd just make sure that everybody goes through all this before next meeting, so they kind of have a good idea. I mean, we just kind of got this, and there was a lot of stuff to read, but
Yeah.
maybe we can just go
That's
kind
what
of,
Sally was saying, you know?
yeah, kind of go through it.
She did
familiarize
seem
us.
to highlight the important parts,
Right.
the changing
I think those are
parts.
basically the changes, yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, that brings us to new business item 3, accessory buildings and structures in lakefront yards. There is a info pack on that.
Yep.
2 little packages on that.
So I guess I'll start out with that
Yes,
one.
please do,
And
Brian.
So remember, we ended up discussing that. There was a case that came before ZBA.
Council.
Well, it came before ZBA
Oh,
originally
true, yep.
for a gazebo down by the water, and ZBA denied it. And it came back to us to look at the ordinance originally, and then we threw it back into their hands, I guess. So they molded it around a little bit, and they decided to send it back, or it came back to council because there was really basically no action. There was some confusion between ZBA and planning. So it came back to council, and we rediscussed it, and we decided, council at that point, to send it back to ZBA and see what their thoughts were, and then we would deal with it from there. So that was the meeting that ZBA had back in December, I believe, right?
Yeah, so we had pretty lengthy discussion on whether or not we should relook at the structures in the lakefront in general, you know, and we had just had the change to the ordinance to now.
That was,
allow it.
yeah, that was back in, what, 18? Was it 20?
No, it was a new provision. I thought
Yeah.
It was in the new
It was
one.
recent, it was the
one
last
that we
couple of years.
just did in
20,
yeah,
maybe, yeah, a
20,
couple of
yeah.
years ago.
So they're allowed, but not within the first 20 feet from the water. And so they felt like maybe we should try that ordinance as it exists now, because it's just being implemented, and see if there's still a need to reevaluate it. At the time, the board didn't feel like they wanted to change the desire to have the, down by the lakefront be more open space. So, so they asked about that. I think the thing that they wanted us to talk about today was the spas.
Yeah,
And that how currently they're considered a above-ground pool
right.
by our ordinance, and so to update the ordinance to allow spas with the definition of what that would be, so that it can be separated from above-ground pools.
So essentially, through their meeting there, they decided that to leave the gazebo and terrace and trellis and all that stuff that we had discussed and decided on back in 20, to leave that the way it was, And then like she said, like Kathy said there's been a couple cases last year or so
Just
where people were
recently.
going to put hot tubs in a lakefront yard, and technically hot tubs by ordinance are considered a pool, above-ground pool, so they're not allowed. So at that point, if somebody wanted to put one on their back deck, you can't have it. So it was, I guess, referred back to planning to look at our accessory structure ordinance regarding pools and maybe define what a hot tub is and
Spa.
swim spas,
Swimming
because
pool.
there was somebody that wanted to have a swim spa recently, a couple of years ago, and swim spas are obviously bigger than just a regular hot tub, so,
And they're looking
More like a lap
for,
pool.
yeah.
they're looking for an approval of certain size hot tubs. And for us, as a planning commission, to figure that out, to define swim spas, above-ground swimming pools, hot tubs, and approve certain size hot tubs.
And placement, probably.
And placement, yeah.
So one of the reasons that hot tubs are considered for ordinance sake above-ground pools is from a safety standpoint, meaning you can't, small kid crawls into a hot tub, can drown just as well as he could in a
Full size, yeah.
full size. So a pool requires fencing. Fencing around a hot tub is kind of overkill, in my view, but do you have to require some kind of a locking cover or
Right.
something when it's not being used or something on
Building
that?
code already requires specific covers for hot
Okay.
tubs
Okay,
for that reason.
okay. So that's,
That new pool right there, the Google House, that doesn't have no fence around it.
That has a hardcover pool top.
yeah.
It is a special pool
Has
top.
a cover
It's an
that meets
automatic.
the same requirements as a fence.
Yeah.
You can walk on
Yeah,
it.
you can walk right across that pool. Yep.
Okay, so that
Yeah, that's neat.
means we,
That house is
that
awesome.
would be something we would want Sally to help with, I would think. Should we,
Well, I think probably,
So can you put it right on the water? So, or is this also the 20 feet back?
well, since it's probably, but most hot tubs are probably taller than 30 inches, right?
yeah,
But that would be, so I would think that would follow under what we have
Already?
already for accessory structures, which would be, minimum 20 foot back from the water's edge.
we're already covered on placement.
Well, to some degree, I mean, we
Okay.
can
Well, what does
look
it say
at it,
about
decide, I
pools?
guess.
Yeah,
If you're
it's-
considering it a pool, it says you can't even have it in the backyard?
Right now, above-ground pools in lakefront
Lakefront.
yards are not allowed.
That's why they're saying they want a definition of a spa and a hot tub separately from the pools, because they can't really fairly be placed under the same set of rules, even though you can drown in both, like you said.
But is the purpose, though, that the reason we don't allow above-ground pools, the view shed?
Yeah, it was originally.
And so if that's still important, which I think...
Plus the fencing
it
issue,
is.
and we don't allow fences in
Yeah,
lakefront yards, but if you have an in-ground pool, I mean, obviously you have to have a fence, and then we started looking at that years ago, because there was a couple in-ground pools put in on a lake, so we allowed certain fencing around that. You couldn't have basically visual obscuring fence, The ones that we have are just basically like a black rail fence that basically is, or white, I guess, but they're open, I mean, 4-inch.
so are we
Openings,
saying it would be okay to have a hot tub in the middle of a yard? Let's say it's, I don't know what a hot tub average is, let's say it's 4 feet tall. By the time you get a
3 to 4 foot, something.
By the time you get a
somewhere in there.
pad down for it to sit on level, do we want to say it's okay to have a hot tub in the middle of a yard 20 feet from shore?
I don't like it.
I guess that would be a question.
I mean, that's kind of the,
Yeah,
just
right,
saying,
yeah,
the discussion.
What we've done in the past on this kind of thing is had Sally look at neighboring communities' ordinances and see what they've written, and then we kind of fine tune it to fit ours.
Well, let me ask you, George, I mean, would that be allowed in Commerce?
No,
I didn't think so.
it would be, and again, I think and I can't remember, there was, and that's where the safety thing was, and the fencing, other than you could have the roll top fence, which I had never heard of until a couple months ago, that you could have that, like the Google House has, where it's automatic, meaning you don't have to worry about somebody not, so a fence has to have an automatic latch gate on it, right?
Right.
Automatic closing. A hot tub,
Somebody could leave it open even though.
and forget about it, yeah, just,
All
so
right,
that's,
well-
that was part of it, but,
That's what we
so
call it.
safety was part of it, but the other was, do you want to block people's views of the lake, looking down the lake? And that, to me, is what if we're going to get complaints. I mean, I think we have a duty on the safety side to talk about that and think about it. But if we're going to have resident complaints, it's because somebody's got a big hot, a 7-foot by 7-foot hot tub, which isn't big, right? That's
Right,
kind of a
that's
small size
kind of a
one.
small size, actually.
So, but a 7-foot or an 8-foot hot tub with, a lot of activity going on around it and sitting up, maybe 4 feet, blocking views. Those are the complaints.
And
that
some
we're
of
gonna
them
get.
might, have
Well,
terraces or trellises.
Well, or if you
Or
have-
the cover that's
if you have
up on a
the cover that folds up
Yeah,
halfway
yeah,
is then gonna show up another,
If I could add
2
my
feet.
2 cents, if
Sure.
you're interested. If you're going to define what an actual hot tub is, once you get the definition set, you could restrict where they're placed, such as saying they have to be on a deck that has railings and lockable gates for safety, and not out in the yard or something of that nature.
That's a good
Right,
idea, yeah.
right.
Aren't most right up by the house?
Typically, people probably want them up there.
Yeah, I know of a couple that are closer to the water though,
Really?
like Mercedes. and
if you
things.
allow it, people are gonna build it.
I agree, then I don't.
And maybe that's part of, to
it.
Tabitha's thing, maybe we restrict it to, you can have the hot tub on the lakeside, but it's gotta be within whatever, so many feet from the house.
Right.
And then you can still enjoy it. And I won't say that I'm guilty of having a hot tub on the lakeside, because I am now, which I didn't know was, don't know if I'm grandfathered or not, but it is, 10 feet from the house. Yeah.
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 Well, is everybody in agreement that we would need Sally's help on this issue? And if so, do we want to table this item 3 to next month?
Well, I think we could table it. I think another thing we can do is in the process between now and next month, maybe do some checking. I mean, we can look up ordinances in other areas.
Sure.
And do some checking on our own.
And see what the standard size is.
Yeah,
for pool
yeah, we
Yeah.
can take a look and see what sizes hot tubs normally are, and,
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
the motion is to ask Sally to do some investigation and bring it back to planning.
There we go. That would even
Who made
be
that
better.
Or Recommendations.
I think Nedra made that motion.
did I?
Yeah, how about a second?
A second.
Second by Moretto. Any discussion?
Well, put words in your
And
mouth.
I'll get the Commerce one and I'll send it out to everybody.
thank you.
on just
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps.
for whatever that language is.
Yeah, thanks, George. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That brings us to.
On that other subject though, the gazebo thing. I notice here it says they built it without a permit.
Yep.
And then they went to the ZBA, and the ZBA refused to give them a variance
Right.
and asked that it be sent back to us to talk about.
That was previous to, that was about a year ago.
Yeah. Less than
At
that?
least.
All right.
And then
that,
because there was the confusion and inaction between ZBA and planning, it went to council.
Well, yeah, I think that the update to the ordinance that talked about where it was allowed, but not within 20 feet of the water, that hadn't been entered.
No, it had. It was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why it was denied by ZBA. Yep. It was.
So it
It was
was,
last September in '21, and the ordinance was changed in '20.
oh, right. But it was recent, right?
It just keeps coming up.
Yeah.
You have to enforce it.
Because there really wasn't, there was no enforcement, and they hadn't been told to take it down because it was kind of a gray area. So that was what the whole thing that prompted it to go to council, and then council referred it back to ZBA. ZBA had their big discussion on it back in December, and then referred it back to us and said that they really didn't feel that there was necessary for a change from what we had on the books from 20. So
Well, I wanted to ask ZBA a question, or ZBA. Did they have some pictures or something? Is their house like really close to the water already? Did they have a reason that they wanted that down
Neighbors
there?
that complained is what the difference is. 'Cause-
Yeah, that was
So neighbors-
closer, they had it right down by the water, it was
It's right
closer.
down by
But they didn't need, there wasn't some overriding reason why they needed to have
Well,
it
they
there,
lost-
other
they
than they
came-
wanted to have one down there.
Actually, the owner was going through hip replacement surgery, and their grandkids that were over, this is the reason, would allow him to be able to be down there by the water to see that the kids weren't gonna drown or anything without being able to get into the water and watch them.
And they did come before council and ask council about it, and at that point, they'd said that they had some big trees, and they'd lost the trees in the
Right,
storm.
they had no shade.
So they had no shade, so therefore they wanted the gazebo down there by the water to be able to shade. Well, you can, like George was saying earlier, you can put up a temporary
Umbrella.
umbrella. They have those retractable umbrellas, nice big ones now, so.
But I just really hate that people seem to think that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. You need a permit to do something like that. It's
Yeah.
kind of upset me a little bit.
Okay, thank you,
You can go
Scott. That
around the
brings
lake
us
and
to
see where
old
other
table
people have.
business, point of liaison to Parks and Rec. I don't know if we even need to untable that.
Yes.
Actually, I'm willing to step up and be the
Okay,
liaison.
fantastic.
Oh,
So I'll
cool.
take a motion to take that off the table
Awesome.
Motion to take it off the table.
by Frederick, second
Support.
by Weber. Okay, and Mr.
Aye.
Lindman, all in favor? Aye.
Quickly.
Mr. Lindman is bravely volunteering to be the liaison to Parks and Rec, and that's fantastic. We've been trying to find someone to help with that for a long time. So do we need a motion to appoint?
Well, we need a
I
motion.
think we recommend to council
Recommend to
that they
council.
appoint, I make a motion that we recommend, no?
No, you guys just have to internally do it just like
Oh,
you
that's
do
right.
with the
Yeah,
liaison
'cause
positions.
we're,
Oh, because he's our
It's just an
liaison.
annual thing.
he's on this board, but.
But if he
That's
wants to
just
be
a
on that board, does he need to go before the council?
You'd have to.
No, because it's a liaison. He's on planning and he just liaisons to
All right,
Park
so
and
you
Rec.
would just go
So
to,
go to the
we need a
meetings.
motion for the council. for the
Fantastic.
And report out
commission
to Park and
approve.
Recs what's going on with
yeah,
planning, and then bring back.
yeah.
Yep.
Thank
Park
you,
and Rec,
Brian.
and we'll
Thank you, we
report out here,
appreciate
yeah.
your,
Oh,
I
we just-
motion
We do.
we appoint Brian Lindman as our liaison to Park and Rec.
Perfect. I'll second.
That's awesome.
motion by Frederick, second by Nedrow, discussion.
Great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
Brian.
Brian. We appreciate your help.
Should be fun.
That brings us to liaison reports. Item A, council.
Well, since October, we had election again, right? So we had 5 people running for 4 spots, and Mr. Malik was unsuccessful one. And Pam Kaznicki's back on. So Mark Duff and Dave Dumont and Bill O'Brien were incumbents, and they all 3 are back on, and Pam Kaznicki's the new one back on. And she was previously on council years ago.
Remember that?
So, welcome back, Pam, and let's see, I was re-elected council president.
Yeah.
Mark Duff is our council pro tem again. Let's see, what else did we do in December?
I think it's a fake election.
The March Hart water main's going forward. We patched some stuff on Ethel Court, there was some paving issues and drainage issues. Oh, we hired another police officer, Todd Crum, full-time. So, and he's doing a great job. He's a very well-weathered police officer, I guess you could say. Been around, and he's doing a great job. We're moving along with the tree inventory. We were successful on a DNR grant for tree inventory. And we've been talking about trees for quite a few years, along the roads, village trees. And so we're going to go forward with a tree inventory and try to get a maintenance program going on that. We re-upped our Progressive A&E professional contract services for our lake management professional. We moved along with the Zambelli fireworks contract, so that will be going forward with Tiki Night again. And that was December. And then, let's see what I do with January here. We had, see, ZBA reappointed 4 people to their board. We had our audit presentation. So everything's great again.
You made the newspaper on that.
Did we?
You were quoted in the newspaper
Spinal
on the
Count?
audit. Well,
Really?
whatever the new, whatever Spinal
didn't see that
Count
one.
changed into.
Good boy. Guess I should read it. I don't know anyone got it.
Spinal column isn't the
We
spinal
had 3
column?
service awards. We had John Marasco for 20 years on the police force. Doug Worster was 25 years with the DPW, and our chief, John Ellsworth, is 25 years with the PD. And let's see. Essentially, that was pretty much about it.
They got the culvert.
Oh, we're working on the culvert. Yep, that's finally being cleaned out.
That's a messy thing.
Yep. So
Okay.
that pretty much brings us up to date.
Thank you for the thorough 2-month report, Brian. That
Plus-
brings us
I
to,
think them lowering that water made the water act really weird this year. The main lake was frozen and the canal wasn't.
There's no water.
Well, there is.
Basically,
Yeah, down the land.
basically empty.
Not where I'm at.
Well, no, not, I'm where I'm at, which is the culvert.
Okay, that brings
Yeah, it
us
is pretty
to
low.
ZBA, which we already heard a little bit about, but if there's anything else that we didn't hear, Kat?
Just, we had a case in January's meeting where the new owners of the house have a hot tub and they wanted to put it up on their deck right by the house. They don't really have much of a front yard there, so the board unanimously voted to allow them to have their hot tub in the deck, so
Nice.
between the house and the lake. But on the deck.
Okay, well, thank you for the report, and we don't have a water management board member here. So
Right.
that brings us to item 13, any announcements? Okay, I hear a motion to adjourn
So moved.
Second.
by Negro, second by Moretto. All in favor? Aye. Well, thanks for your volunteering, everybody, your time.
Dang, I might have to take my wife out to dinner now. It's her birthday.